Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 533, top deduction games that we do not own.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
Meeple Nation Podcast is sponsored by Game Toppers LLC. They have amazing product that we love.
Wow, you really pivoted into that. That was great.
Yeah. Go check them out.
You sound tired.
Do I? I'm not really tired.
It sounded like it was the middle of a yawn.
It did
amazing
product. Amazing. Yeah, it did kind of sound like a yawn there. But no, they still do have amazing product.
You will not be yawning when you go check out what they have to offer.
Not. Yeah, and your game night will not be a yawn with a Game Topper. Check them out, GameToppersLLC.com.
Welcome to Meeple Nation. We are your hosts. I am Andy Holliday.
I am Douglas Stewart.
And I am Nathan Howard.
We would love for you to go over to our website. Check it out. We have links to all of our past episodes. We have blogs and photos of our favorite gaming moments. We also have some bios if you'd like to learn more about us here at Meeple Nation. And we would love for you to reach out to us. Reach out to us at meeplenation@gmail.com. And of course, we love our patrons. We love the support that you give us. We use those funds to improve the podcast. And if you would like to also be a patron, hit that link on our meeplenation.com webpage, jump over to Patreon, become a patron, and help us make the podcast even better.
Awesome. Well, that is going to take us into my favorite time of every episode, and that is where we talk about our weekly highlights. What have we been playing? What have we been loving? And maybe what have we not been loving? But what has been on our table?
I got to tell you about two experiences. Doug and Corey DeCaria and I have been playing Res Arcana. This is a game that I picked up. Doug really liked it. I played it. I culled it. But I continue to play it on BGA.
Because it's so good. And you realize the error of your ways, and now you wish you hadn't culled it. I'm going to order it
pretty
again.
Good that it's cold.
That's not how the story went?
No, that's definitely not how the story went.
Okay.
But it's a game that I enjoy losing to you, Doug. I've made a stipulation that we can't draft, because if we draft, then I severely lose.
I do get that. It is definitely one of those games where familiarity makes you a much better player. The more you've played it, the better you will be for certain.
Yes, but we had been playing a game with you, Corey, and I, Doug, and I won.
Good job.
That was awesome.
Won.
Yeah.
So proud of you right now.
Yeah, and it was great. I think I only had 3, maybe 4 cards in front of me, but it was just a mechanic that I could use over and over and over again, and I could try to get as much as the death essence or whatever it is, the skull essence, and I could tap a card. And if I could I could put 5 essence on it, give me a point. I got to the point where I could do that twice a turn and then tap it, give me another point. Spend a card to untap it and then retap it. And it was nice because there was a chat I noticed the chat pop up, and Corey's like, "Hey, what's the tiebreaker?" And I was like, "It doesn't matter."
There won't be any ties here, sir.
Yeah, and it was actually a pretty close game.
I'm going to thump you severely.
Yeah, because I think it was 9-10-11 was the final score.
Yeah, I had 10.
So maybe it was 11-10-10.
Yeah, it might have been. Yep.
And we got the chance to play Halloween again. We had a barbecue, and Doug, myself, and my oldest daughter, Ashley, and her friend, Zach, we got a chance to play it. And since I was the most familiar, I did offer it to Doug, to play
but I was
Mike
okay.
Myers.
Yeah.
And I was successful at eliminating the players.
Just the first time?
The first time
Nice.
winning as Mike Myers, which I thought from when we first started to teach the game, the first game we played, I thought it was going to be real easy for Mike Myers to win. And there's definitely some anxiety there as the players go. But I was super aggressive in trying to catch and eliminate the victims, but they're actually pretty darn elusive.
They can be.
They can be. And I'd be like right there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to wait for you. And as you run by, I'm going to grab you. And then I also got really lucky on my rolls.
Like
did. The first attack, I rolled 3 hits, and which was enough to take out one of the victims. And I actually felt like I was picking on her because
Well,
I killed her
have to
twice.
kill 3 characters,
Yeah.
and they were all hers. Yes. I can see why she might have felt a little picked on.
Yeah.
Definitely. Although, now it was funny because, and not at all, it was a fair win, so don't get me wrong. I'm not like throwing Zach under the bus or anything like that. But it was funny because he found the skateboard item, and he was just having a blast just running around the board on the skateboard, right? He'd just be like, ooh, look at me, I'm going from corner to corner. And then he'd move over to try to get into a house, and he'd eventually like pick up a clue, and then he'd be like, ooh, look at me, I'm going to skate all the way across the board again. And he was just having a fun time on the skateboard.
Yeah, he was having a fun
I don't
time.
know that he was playing super strategic, but
he was, because he was one of the people I was waiting for him to go by.
Yeah.
And then
did manage
just
to decoy.
Turned around and went the other way.
Yep.
Where Ashley was a little bit more predictable. I stood in a spot and she came waltzing right by me. So I'm like, hey. And
hey.
and yeah. So it was good times. So I got a chance to win as Mike Myers at Halloween, and I got a chance to win at Res Arcana. So
Nice. Good wins.
2
Nathan.
wins for me that I got to put in the app. So
Nice.
good times. Yeah. All those losses I get from Jody and Doug online, and even Cheryl. It was good to put some wins in the win column.
Good for you.
That's awesome.
So I received a Kickstarter this week that I was pretty excited about. And the best part is I've already played it twice.
That is so
It's kinda
weird.
nice.
I always just get my stuff and just put it right on that shelf of shame.
It's nice when those Kickstarters get opened and played right away.
Yeah, it is for sure.
And I've decided that's the time to do it because you're excited. It showed up. You just got to dive into the rule book and just figure it out. And I managed to.
Way to go.
So it was fun. This Weird Wood Manor. I'm not going to pull a Nathan and drag out the title for too long, but Weird Wood Manor. And it's a cooperative game. And you have made friends with Lady Weirdwood, and in her manor, she has a portal to the Feylands, and a monster has come in and is wreaking havoc in her manor and has trapped her, and it's your job to come in and save her. At least that's the scenario we played in, because there are 3 different big bads that you fight. We fought the Chaos Ogre, and we lost the first time, and we won the second time by the skin of our teeth. So it's actually a pretty difficult co-op game, but you play characters. The characters it's not a deck builder, but you are upgrading your characters.
It's a hand management.
It is a hand management game, and everybody has asymmetrical powers. There are unique cards for each of the characters, and then there are cards that are the same as well in each of the decks. But you're running around the manor, performing actions in each of the rooms are going to do something different, are going to give you actions that you get to do, or actions that are going to allow you to help other players. And there is the board's cool. So there's a time track that is actually one of the hallways that will rotate. So when you play a card, it's going to take time away from the game. And then there's a day track that's on the outer ring, which is the outer hallway of the game board. And that will rotate as well. So there are several ways to lose. One of them is if you get to the end of day 12 and you have not completed whatever the objective is, then you've lost the game. And we were down to the nitty gritty on the game we won, and Sierra ended up taking out the Chaos Ogre. But a ton of fun. The components are cool. The game board's really cool. And I'm excited that I actually got to get a Kickstarter played multiple times in less than a week after getting it.
That is unheard for our group for sure.
It really is.
But yeah, I thought the game was a blast. And you talk about the board being really nice and cool, how it works, and you rotate those times. And as you do, that will make some rooms close off.
It does, yeah.
Or provide doorways for those rooms. And so it is possible that you get stuck in a room and you can only do little minor actions in there. But also something I really like about the game is the fact that there's a lot of combat, but there's no player elimination, which is nice because your health can go down to 1, and that's as low as it's going to go, which also means that the number of dice that you're going to roll to attack is also going to have a minimum of 1.
That's actually your hand size that goes down with your health. Your dice can still go up, but you can choose to lose dice instead of taking damage. But having 1 card to play, yeah, that can be rough.
Yeah, and that's something that I found that in my first play is that you very much want to get your health up as high as you can quickly so that you have more variety in your hand to allow you to do more actions that you want to do instead of stuck to actions that you can do. And being able to attack the big bad is tough.
Yeah.
and they're rolling a ton of dice compared to you, especially as the later in the day, that the more enraged that big bad gets, the more dice it is going to roll, and you have to do damage to it. What is it, 16 times, 18 times?
It is 18 times.
18 times. Yeah. And it's not easy.
No. And he rolls a lot. Yeah, he has a chance to roll shields and defend. And yeah, it's actually can be a pretty tough game. I think our last play, the most difficult part was just movement.
Yeah.
I want to go to this room, and that dang board would switch, and couldn't get into the inner ring because doors would close, and you're like, okay, well, I got to revamp that.
Yeah.
But also when you play cards in certain times, so you have above your board, you have morning, daytime, evening, and nighttime. And when you play a card in one of those slots, you have to play a card on your turn. When you play it in whatever slot you played in, you have to rotate the dial onto a space, one of the 3 spaces that matches that. And if you've already played all your cards other than one slot, you're stuck playing it in that slot, and it could totally hose you on time and eat up a ton of time if you don't plan accordingly.
Yeah.
So
no, it was a good game.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed my play of it, and I enjoyed watching the second play where you guys won. So good times indeed.
Definitely good times.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you'll get to play it again, soon, because it's definitely one I want to.
Yeah, we'll definitely bust it out. I don't want to. We need to play it soon before I forget the rules.
Yeah, always the case, right?
Yeah.
Well, my highlight, the one that I wanted to talk about, this is a highlight actually from SaltCon. Now we're going to talk about SaltCon more in depth in 2 weeks from now, so I won't belabor anything from there. But at SaltCon, they have there's always like a game swap room, right? Where people bring games to sell, and you can bring games if you want, and you can go pick up some good deals on games in the room, and all's good. Well, we had run into some old friends from high school that we haven't seen in a really long time. We got kind of caught up with them, and we were talking there for a little bit, and he was like, "Hey, let's I'm learning rules to this game. Let's play it here in a little bit. We'll come set up next to your table at SaltCon, and I'll, I need to read the rules and stuff, but let's play a game." So we're like, all right, that sounds good. So half hour later, we go sit by him, and he's finished reading the rule book, and we sit down to play this little game. And at first, when I looked at it, I was like, ooh, because it looks a little older. So this is a Treasure Hunter. It's an old Queen game from 2015. I guess it's not that old, but 2015 is 9 years. It's getting up there. And at first, I didn't really know what to expect. And he goes ahead and teaches us this game, and we played it and had a phenomenal time. It was just I think it's a little treasure, right? Like it's the treasure that you're hunting in Treasure Hunter. But, really simple game. This is an old Andrew Garfield game. And basically it's a card drafting game. You're just pick one and pass, pick one and pass, pick one and pass. You're going to do that over 5 rounds. And basically there are 3 different areas where you can gain treasure from, that are each kind of color coded. But what's fun about this is the treasure is randomly generated from a stack, and you may want the most strength in an area to gain the treasure, and you may want the least amount of strength in an area to gain the treasure. And so how you draft matters. And a lot of times you'll get stuck with cards that you didn't necessarily want because you could tell everybody else they didn't want anything to do with, like, say, the red zone or something like that. So you've got to stay kind of flexible and pivot a little bit, but you're just trying to gain treasures as you amass strength or try to avoid strength in these different areas. And then, of course, while you're out treasure hunting, the goblins come to raid your base. So you also need to draft guard dogs to protect your base. And then you can also just draft coins and modifiers and some other things like that. It's a very simple game, but it plays really fast. And it's like, it's really, really, really snappy, pick and pass style game, right? It's just shuffle the cards, deal everyone 9, pick one, pass, pick one, pass, pick one, pass. Okay, next round, shuffle them up, pick one, pass, pick one, pass. And so it plays really, really fast. I think this game is a ton of fun. It's a great little filler game, and I just had an absolute blast playing it. So I was asking him about it after we played this game. I was like, man, so like, what made you pick this one? And he was like, oh, I was in the swap room for $5. Someone was just getting rid of it. And I was like, whoa, $5. I was like, that's a steal for this little amazing game that we played. $5 was awesome. And so, in the off chance that perhaps there was another copy in there, I went looking, and sure enough, I found a copy of my own. I didn't get the $5 version. I got the $10 version.
That means it's twice as good, right?
I guess so. I guess that's what that means. But no, the person I bought it from was a little more proud of the game, and so I paid a few more bucks for it. Well worth the cost to add that one to my shelf. Have had a ton of fun. Now, the same night that we got to play Halloween, I brought that over, and we got to play it. And I think everyone at the table had a pretty good time.
I think so.
I know Ashley and Zach both really liked it. Seemed like you liked it. I even think Dave
lost
liked it.
terribly, but yes, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you picked the wrong strategy.
Yes, I did. yeah. About halfway through, I was realizing that I had picked regret.
But, Dave, who I don't think really cares a whole lot about like drafting style games, I think he even really liked it quite a bit. So It was a hit at the table, and it's definitely one that I think will come out from time to time, especially when you just need a good filler game.
Yep. It's one that I'm hoping to be able to find at a later time.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, that brings us to the bulk of our conversation with this episode. We have been talking about our top deduction games. Hopefully we made Jody happy, because Jody sent me an email making sure that, or asking why we hadn't talked about Feed the Kraken. And he's like, hopefully that's going to be in your top 5. And I told him, yes, it's in the top 5. So don't worry, it'll be there. But Jody also suggested a game that we hadn't talked about, wasn't on our radar at all, but I've done some research into that now, and I am pretty excited about this game. It's Fractured Sky. Have either of you heard anything about Fractured Sky?
No,
I haven't.
And so it's actually, Jody let me know that it went through its second Kickstarter and is in the process of being fulfilled. And so it's something that I'm trying to look for on the second market, or on the second-hand market, not the second-hand market, but those stores that have bought extras. I'm hoping to find it.
Like the Game Steward or something like that. One of those where they pick up extra copies of Kickstarters.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to look for the deluxe version, because it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, they sell them for a little more than they bought them, I hear.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever used those services, so how would I know?
But he really liked this game, and so I'm gonna have to look out for that one. So if you have any feelings on Fractured Sky, let us know, and we would love to hear about that. And then he also let me know that we could continue to play games, or he would continue to defeat me on BGA, except for he's not playing Hive anymore.
Yeah. Are you not burned out on Hive? Because I feel like, here's the thing, I like Hive. I think Hive's a good game.
Yeah.
It just has a burnout limit. After you've played it 30 times or something like that, it's like, okay, I'm good with Hive. I've played it out.
I don't know.
I think that's how Jody feels too.
Well, he only played it a few times, but
he
it just wasn't his style of game. But it was, I don't know. I can play a game over and over and over, especially if it's quick and it's something that just doesn't take a ton of my time. I mean, I've played Hive 53 times now, so
He smokes.
yeah, I've played Hive a time or two.
Wow. How many times have you played Maracaibo?
11 times.
Well, that's pretty good considering that it's just been this year.
Yeah, we haven't had it for that long.
Wow.
And but yeah, I very much enjoy Maracaibo. And Andy, you and I played with the first part of the Uprising expansion.
Yes.
And I don't like playing with you. No, it was a lot of fun playing with that expansion stuff, but my strategy was not a winning strategy at all. And I'm looking forward to playing it again and giving it a different perspective and a different kind of love. So.
Yeah, me too. It'll be interesting to try some of the other home ports.
Yeah.
Or add that asymmetry to your game board or to your ship. I like that.
And there are some of these elements that are available on BGA as well. So
nice.
Yeah. But anyways, so we are continuing our discussion, concluding our discussion of...
I would say concluding.
Yes, concluding our discussion of deduction games by talking about some games briefly that we don't own and why we don't own those. So to find this list of games, I went to BGG and I said, hey, I'm looking for, under the mechanisms, I'm looking for deduction games, which do include social and logic deduction games. And I want games that were rated between 7 and 10, 10 out of 10 being the best. So 7 and 10, and had to have at least 2,000 reviews. People said 2,000 people saying this game is a 7 or a 10. So that gave me a list of 31 games. So apparently not a ton of love for deduction, because then I do a top of the other thing. This is the only one that I didn't choose to stop at 50.
Oh, it chose for you because there's just not
me.
that many.
Yeah, it just said here are for games that are ranked from 7 to 10. Here's the top 31.
Wow,
2,000
that's
people
surprising, really.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. And so some of these games we've talked about in the past, like the number, I guess we'll start at the number one. Number one was Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detectives, the Tams Murders and Other Cases.
Yep.
This is something that we've played some games similar along the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detectives. One that we still have to get to is Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah,
Arkham
that's the
and
one
elsewhere.
that's the one I really want to get to.
Yeah, we need to get to that one. The Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective goes back to 1982, so actually good luck finding it. You're going to have a harder time finding that. Actually, not too hard of a time after I say that, because look down at BGG and places it's for sale, and there's quite a few places that it's still for sale at a fairly reasonable price.
Yep, this one's around.
So
It's definitely around.
That's probably why it's still number one, because people still seek after it. Number two on the list was Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about this? I mean, this is an alternative to Werewolf, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of one of those big group game kind of things. A little bit more involved is my understanding. Kind of a lot more like rules, a lot more of like, where in Werewolf, everyone's kind of listening to whoever's talking.
The moderator.
And Blood on the Clock Tower, my understanding is this has a lot more of like you kind of play in rounds where people have the opportunity to go and talk to each other.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of segregate themselves and pass information or
Choose to reveal whatever they want to reveal.
Lie or be truthful or form alliances, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, the one thing that I don't like, a lot of the same group loves this game that love Werewolf. One thing that I don't like about this is the moderator of Blood on the Clock Tower can lie. I mean, I haven't ever played this, but this is something according to Logan that
Logan ran this at SaltCon once, right?
yeah, and Justin
ran it this last
ran it this last SaltCon.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know they both like that.
Yeah, they both thrive on that kind of game. And I mean, I enjoy Werewolf too, but this just Blood on the Clock Tower just for some reason doesn't appeal for me because the fact that there is not clear boundaries. I guess for me, for my game, I need a clear rule set of what information I'm going to get. I can understand that the people I'm playing with are going to lie, but if there's a game that's moderated, I mean, you don't know if the moderator's being truthful. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's for me, that's kind of and so I've passed every opportunity to play in this. So I don't know.
Maybe you should try it with Justin?
I should, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we maybe should do like a small group version of it at some point. Maybe. I don't know. I say that, but I just don't have a lot of interest in those kinds of games. So
yeah, me either.
I'm not sure.
I think this would be one that with the right group, it could actually be fun, but it would have to be with the right group. And I don't know if I would be considered part of that right group.
I don't think you would. In fact, I could say pretty clearly that no, you would not be that right group.
Fair enough.
So number 3 that was on the list was Mind Management, the psychic espionage game. And this is a game that I did own in cold, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. That was a previously owned game.
I didn't realize that you
played it.
I didn't realize
we have played it.
I didn't realize you got rid of it.
Yeah, I just came to the conclusion that I really like the game, but I came to the conclusion that I'm just not gonna play it here.
Yeah,
and so there's
and I'm sorry because I know I'm part of that, but it was not a good experience.
Yeah, and not for you for sure, but I definitely enjoyed it. And you played it the first time, didn't you, Andy?
Yeah.
You thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah. So maybe I cold it too soon. Maybe Doug just burned me.
Well, it wasn't just me.
Okay, maybe Doug and Monique just burned me.
There you go. As long as I can throw Monique under the bus too.
But no, that was a bad rule teach on my part, and I ended up playing it later that same day and had a much better experience.
Really liked it. Yeah.
I just don't see it hitting the table again, so it went away.
Yeah, I definitely get that. How about the next one on the list, Cryptid? Has this one? There was a point where I was kind of looking at this one as a possibility to add to the shelf, and I'll tell you what it was for me was the table presence.
Yeah,
It's pretty bland.
It is very bland.
Yeah, I had a hard time. I mean, it's rated fairly well. It seems like it's a decent game. I mean, it's rated at a 7.4, got a 2.25 weight, best at 4 players, and it plays 3 to 5. So it's,
best at 4.
and 30 to 50 minutes. This doesn't seem, I mean, it seems like it ticks a lot of the right boxes, but for me, when I was looking at it, cause I had it in my cart probably a couple of times, and then I just kept looking at pictures of it, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this game. This doesn't seem
it
like
is
my
pretty
kind of
bland, but it's a pretty good game. I've played it twice. Brent, our friend Brent Mayer, owns this, and I played it twice with him, and it is very much in his vein of kind of that logic deduction type of a game. But it was not one that tickled me enough to put it into any of my carts. So, but I thought it was good, but not that good apparently.
What about Awkward Guests? The Walton case. That's the next one on the list.
So the Awkward Guest, I also got a chance to play at Julie's house.
Okay.
I got to play this with Adrian, David's wife, and several other hug ladies. And I thought I was a pretty clever deducing feller, and I didn't have a clue in this game.
This one humbled you, huh?
Oh yeah. I think Adrian was the one that was able to put the dots together and successfully deduce the case. But yeah, I thought I was pretty smart guy, and definitely not.
Yeah. If you look at the pictures online, it looks like there is a lot going on with this game.
There is a lot going on, and which is part of the excellence of the game is that it's not just a simple, there's a murderer, a murder weapon, and where they did the murder. There's all sorts of information that you're trying to put in, and there's a lot of red herrings in there trying to deduce what is real and what is not, and does it really well. So if you're smarter than me, I think that you'll have a ton of fun with Awkward Guests.
Nice. I do really like the tagline for this game. Mr. Walton will be murdered repeatedly. Uncover the clues to figure out who did it.
Nice.
Well, so the next one on the list, I don't know.
The next one on the list is actually one that probably should get scratched because I do own this one. This is just Love Letter.
You own the 2019 version?
Yeah, I have the 2019 version. I have the new Jabba's Realm version, and I have the Marvel version. And I know Mike has the Batman version. So this little 18 card game has seen a lot of iterations for being such a simple little thing.
Do you have the Lovecraft version of it?
I don't.
So that's number 11.
Okay.
The Lovecraft Letter.
Oh, Lovecraft Letter. Okay, yep. Nice. So we'll talk more a little bit about that. I do like Love Letter, but I also own it. So
yeah. I own the original version. So the 2012 version, the 2019 version came out with 5 additional cards and 3 different characters. So
gotcha. This isn't one that I will ever really choose to play, but my daughters like it, so I do play with them from time to time.
Yeah, and it's not one that I thrive on playing. But we played the Java Palace one at SaltCon, your wife, and I.
Yes.
And I was tired.
Yeah, we were all tired.
Made that game
and it made it really fun.
Yeah, I had a blast playing that game.
Because we were just silly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, that was, that's a lot of these little simple games. It's all about the timing of when you play it. And when you play it and you're sober or you're more awake, it just is, you're like, why did I like this game so much?
Yeah, you go back to try to recreate some of those memories, and it's like, wait a minute, no, I gotta be way more tired to recreate that fun. Okay, how do we feel about the Exit games? Because that's the next one on the list. This is Exit the game, Dead Man on the Orient Express, and I'm just gonna be honest. For me, I think I'm good with the Exit games, and I'm not saying I'd never play one, but I just don't have a lot of interest. If I'm going to play a game like this, I will reach for one of the unlock games. Yeah. And there's so many of those I haven't played that the circumstances have to be really special to draw me into an Exit game, I think. For me, that's just a personal thing. So, I don't know. How do you guys feel about those?
Well, out of 32 or 31 games, this is the only Exit game that made the list.
Interesting.
And none of the unlocks made the list. None of the deckscapes. This is the only style of game like this, except for maybe 16, that made it on this list. So that does make me want to try this rendition of this exit game.
Maybe there's something special about this one in particular.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yep.
So I'm very, I think I'll probably try to seek this one out and see if I can add it and give this a try, because for that to be the only one to make the list
Yeah.
and to make it pretty high on the list too.
Okay. You've convinced me. I'd give this one a go. I'm looking at it here too, and actually it does look like it could be kind of interesting. Also, you could pick this up for about $10, so there's not a lot of risk in picking that up. If you don't like it, you're not out much.
Yep, not out too much.
The next one on the list is Tobago. I know nothing about Tobago.
So I don't know anything about Tobago either. That was the one that I was going to look up on this list that stuck out, and I didn't. So Tobago is 2 to 4 players, 60 minutes, 2.13 weight. This is an adventure game. Players use representations of treasure maps to locate unknown treasures.
From 2009. So
2009.
15-year-old game.
To still make it on this list,
Still
pretty
making it on
high.
the list. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's got a 7.1. Is it a queen game? It looks like a queen. No, it's not a queen
The box
game.
makes it kind of look like it is, but I don't think it
Yeah.
is. No, it's
Vilger?
yeah. This is one that I'm going to put on my watch for at a game swap list.
Yeah, Rio Grande Games. Huh. Yeah, I think, if you can get this for $10 too, that's for sure one to try.
Yeah.
And then this next one also looks pretty interesting. That at first, when I looked at the box cover, I thought this was Time Story,
Yeah, I definitely get that.
but it is not. And this is Shipwreck Arcana.
This is one I've played.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
played this?
I have.
I played it with you, actually.
Oh, really?
Richie taught this.
Yeah, Richie taught this one to us.
Richie owns this one.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually really fun. So you're trying to, you have tokens that
I've
have,
played this.
you played it too. Good job, Nathan.
Nathan's looking at the cards like, wait a minute, I've played this.
You're trying to decipher what everybody else has based on the cards you
Yeah.
play, right? So you're giving clues to everybody else. It's a cooperative game. And based on what you play, it's going to give information on what you have. And people are going to try to decipher what you have in front of you. It's actually a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're the person kind of giving the clue and you bots it, it can make you feel really dumb.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you kind of look at it afterward and you're like, oh, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Like that. It's like, why didn't I see that? Like,
As they start talking and you're like, oh, dang it. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
It's a fun game.
And kind of some mathy elements too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
do
some-
remember that.
Math involved. Yep.
All right. Next on the list is Pagan, Fate of Roanoke. That'll work too. So this one, it's a 2-player game. That's probably why it didn't make my radar. But it does have an 8.1,
Yeah.
which is a pretty good rating. And only plays in 30 and 60 minutes too.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to play a 2-player game, something fast, which is really in our group, the only time anybody's going to play a 2-player game is if
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how much time do you guys have left? Oh, an hour or half an hour. Okay, let's bust this out really fast.
Yeah. Or if it's something I'm playing with my wife, I can play it. This looks probably a little too meaty for her, but this is pretty interesting. So it's an asymmetric game. Is witches struggle against the witch hunter.
Nice.
So as the witch strives to complete a ritual of renaturation, the hunter tries to discover her true identity among the 9 villagers. Wow, this actually, I could see myself playing this one too.
Yeah. I might put this one on the look at a game swap list as well.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the art on it too.
Yeah.
Artistically, kind of intriguing. I might have to check that one out.
It's fairly recent, 2022, so I'm sure it's probably readily available as well.
Probably find it. How about the next one on the list? This is top 10 from 2020. This has a weight of 1.09.
What's the time on it?
30 minutes.
4
4 to 9 players. Best 6 to 8.
This could be something.
This game
Sounding like a party
has
game.
Nathan written all
It does kind of
over
look like it. I don't know. It's got unicorns and unicorn poop on the thing, which kind of
Sounds like a Nathan game.
Wow,
No.
sounding more and more like a Nathan
Yeah.
game.
You saying I like poopy games?
Yes.
I see.
Yes, I am.
I see what you did there.
If it's a party game, yes.
Yeah. So you place a number of unicorns on the game board. Choose one player to be the round's chief. A player gives all the players a random card, 1 through 10. Then they read one of the 500 themed cards. Wow, that box does not look like it holds 500 cards.
No, it doesn't.
Batman wants Robin to fight the bad guy, create a new duel, and from the worst to best, the chief looks at their number and gives an answer based on their number. Huh. Yeah, this totally looks like one I should pick up.
Kind of sounds like apples to apples.
But fun.
Yeah, kind of does. I don't know. You said that about Keepers, and we all know how that turned out.
Listen, that has some really great photos in it.
It did. The art was very good. Next on the list was, we had mentioned it previously, this was Lovecraft Letter. It looks like this is another one that's kind of followed the Batman love letter pattern, I guess is the right word.
Yeah.
In that it came out, right? Like, so it was published with a limited number, no more were ever made. And now if you want it, you got to pay like $100 for it. $100 for like 18 cards on the secondary market. So yeah, not going to happen. Although this one does feature art by Vincent Dutray, and I do love Vincent Dutray art. This looks like a cool copy of Love Letter. Definitely not one I'm going to go track down at that price.
Yeah, no way. So what do you think about one-player games? I know, Doug, you like your Final Girl.
I mean, single player, like you're talking about, like single player only games.
Single player
right?
only games.
Yeah, Final Girl's fantastic. And I do play what's the alien one? I always forget whether it's like Falling Skies or Under Fallen Sky or
Fallen
like
Skies.
Under Fallen Skies. I think those are pretty much the only two one player only games that I play. And they're both great.
This next one on the the next one on the last is Black Sonata. It's a one-player game, 30 minutes.
Oh, interesting. And best at one.
Yeah. Well,
Wow, really?
That's
Fascinating.
Go figure that out.
I guess that's better than being best at 0. This just, I don't know. It's got a pretty high rating, 7.5, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at images online. This is a hard pass for me personally.
Oh yeah, nothing about this excites me.
I have a hard time with playing games one player, even if there's a solo variant. I don't think I've ever played a single one of my games with a solo variant.
Oh really?
Not once.
I tried it. I try it every once in a while.
That's interesting, Andy. Now, okay, follow me down this little rabbit hole for a second. Because when you and I were first introduced, it was the first game night that I came to at your house. Mm-hmm. You were late getting there.
Right.
But everyone else was there. And we were playing, I can't remember what game it was. It was either Puerto Rico or we were testing one of Richie's games.
You were playing one of Richie's games.
Okay. And you set up at the end of the table, you set up Wingspan and played versus the Automa.
I did?
That was the first memory I have of sitting down in your basement playing games.
I have
almost
no memory
4
of this
years
place.
ago. Yep.
Wow.
Wingspan, and you busted out the Automa. You played it solo while we tested Richie's game.
I do not remember that at all.
And the Automa actually works really well with Wingspan.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's good.
Done it
Apparently
several
I've tried
times.
it and I don't remember.
It's just fascinating that you're saying like you never play, but that is my first memory of you at the table.
Wow.
Is playing
That's
Automa.
crazy because I honestly don't remember that at all.
That's fascinating. Like my first trip to Andy's basement, I captured the rare unicorn.
The rare unicorn that even Andy doesn't remember.
Yep.
Huh. Well, thanks for reminding me that I did that. Apparently I did and don't recall.
Yeah. You had a good time.
It must have been very memorable.
Yeah, clearly very memorable. That is awesome. Let's talk about one that I actually do really want to try. I'm surprised. And Nathan, I thought this was on your shelf.
Well, so Stella,
Yep.
Stella, Dixit Universe.
Yep.
Is so this isn't Dixit,
Nope.
which is I'm kind of surprised that I don't own this too.
Yeah, 30 minutes, best at 5 to 6, 3 to 6 players, 1.14. This is like the ultimate filler game, and it's got all the Dixit art and everything in it. I thought this was on your list. It's actually one of the reasons why I haven't bought it, because I thought you had it and I was wanting to play it. But you know what the game is that I keep looking at that you have that I get it mixed up for is this one right here. It's the Disney edition of Dixit. I should have just looked at it closer.
Yeah, I bought that, and my wife's like, "Why did you buy that? We have the other Dixit."
I know, but you like it, right?
Yeah. Apparently, she didn't like that
Oh,
one.
okay. Well, there you go.
But she hasn't tried it, so we'll try it hopefully when we're in Montana.
Yeah.
But then maybe I'll get the Stella and take it to Montana as well. But yeah, it looks. I mean, she loves Dixit, and I love playing games with her, so I should pick that up.
Yeah. So you're saying I still probably shouldn't go pick this up because it'll be on your shelf soon.
Maybe. Yeah, it's probably on my shelf soon.
Okay.
Maybe is yes.
Maybe is yes.
May already be in a cart.
somewhere. So Outfoxed, this is a 2 to 4 player game, 20 minutes. This, this just looks like a kid's game.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Which it is. It's a
It
children's
is.
game.
Yeah. 1.11, 20-minute little kid game. Yep.
Yep. So not my kids are way too old for this, but
This is one maybe I could get and play with Carson that would not
There
be
you go.
greedy granny.
I would probably play this with Carson. So, speaking of stinking greedy granny, so we're at SaltCon, and I'm playing I think I'm playing either Fly or Irk with James and my wife, and your lovely daughter Sierra comes over and plops greedy granny on the table. And I'm like, what in the world is this doing here? Get this garbage out of my face.
She specifically brought that for that moment. So she's like, I'm going to ask Nathan to play greedy granny with me.
Just plop it down.
Yeah. She didn't even have a soda that she was trying to get.
No,
she
didn't.
Just wanted to get my goat.
She did.
And she got it successfully.
That
yes.
kid has a great sense of humor.
She does indeed. But yeah, Outfox, if you have young kids, probably good.
Maybe. We probably won't ever know. Next on the list is Mr. Jack in New York. Now, I was just comparing this to the original Mr. Jack. The Mr. Jack, the original, came out in 2006. And then Mr. Jack in New York, I believe, is it 2009? Is that what I saw? My computer momentarily just decided to do something weird.
2009, yes.
So, but of the two, this one is the one that's rated a little bit better. Also has a little heavier weight, but still is a 2-player game that lasts about 30 minutes.
Could be interesting. The board looks pretty dry. It's I don't know. I would like to try it, but I'm not going to buy it to try it.
I think I feel pretty much about the same. All right. Well, that'll take us to the last one on the list, which is Escape Tales: The Awakening.
So this is another one this is the last one on the list that was any sort of kind of a puzzle solving like Exit. And I haven't played any of these Escape Tales, so I have no opinion on them, but it has 180 to 360 minutes playtime, which is, I don't know, which is probably why it's not on my list.
Seems like a little bit long for what it has to offer.
Yeah. Although I do have the detective series, Detective: A City of Angels, which I haven't played. It's something I picked up a long time ago that I thought I really wanted to play and I never did. This is kind of along that same vein, and I need to give that a shot.
I think this is one, because it's best at 2 players.
Yeah.
I think this is one that if you did on a date night, right, with your wife, and it was the puzzles and everything else were kind of gripping and not taking too terribly long, not being too clever. And so you feel like, okay, that was fun. That was a cool puzzle. We you feel smart. We figured it out, and then you go on to the next one. If it does that well, which if it's rated as high as it is, maybe it does, I could totally see that being a fun one to play. And I could see that something that maybe my wife would enjoy because she likes puzzle type games. But I think if you went to three or 4 players, I think that's too long. That's too long for a game like this. But with a 2 players, you could probably swing that on maybe a date night or something like that, and take a break, go get dinner, come back and jump back into it or whatever, right? I think that it could work that way.
I totally agree. And yet then I look at the playtime and I'm like, could you do that for 3 to 6 hours?
I don't know. But my wife is one of her favorite games is Empire Builder, and we will play that over a week. We'll sit down and play it for 45 minutes, and then we'll leave it, and we'll come back and play it some more and leave it. So if we could do something like that and set it up and then come back to it, if there was a spot that we could, if I had dining covers for my game toppers, then I could totally do that, set it up, and then we could pull the covers off and, hey, let's figure this out again. I think that would be fun, but 6 hours for something like this, maybe not, but Empire Builder can take about that long too, honestly, and we still have had fun with that game. So
yeah, there's nothing about this game that would appeal to my wife. If I brought this game and we were playing this,
she'd be like, heck no, huh?
Yeah,
I don't think Lydia would play this either.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, those are some games that we don't own. Yeah. And for the most part, good reasons, I think, why we don't. But there's definitely a couple on there that caught my eye that I would check out at a future date. So
yeah, I'm actually, this has probably been one of the lists that have appealed the most to finding something to go into my shopping cart. So
yeah, or at least finding some things that I like to try.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
I agree. That was kind of a surprise, actually, because going into this one, I wasn't thinking I'd have a lot that looked too intriguing, but I'm kind of surprised.
Agreed.
All right. So that's a list of games that we do not own and why we don't own them. Until next time.
We'll see you looking at all the stuff that you don't own that you're going to own soon.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/MeepleNation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_nation. Or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.